It's time for the penultimate round of the Superunited Chess 2025. On your screen is Gukesh Domaraju, the world champion who's adjusting himself in the chair, getting ready for a huge encounter here. It's huge from the perspective of tournament situation. Although his opponent that he will be facing here is Ivan Sharic. Ivan, the local player who got an entry into this tournament, being one of the top players of Croatia, has had a super strong and solid event. He has 6 draws out of 6 rounds, and in the 7th round he lost to Pragnananda. So 1 loss and 6 draws, and now he faces the world champion Gukesh. And there you see Sharic here takes off his glasses, adjusts his pieces, and I think we are ready to start. Gukesh in his meditative pose, handshake, and off we go. Pawn to e4 by Ivan, e5 by Gukesh, knight comes out to f3, knight comes out to c6, and now bishop to b5. We have the Rui Lopez on the board, a6, bishop a4, knight comes out to f6, white castles, and bishop e7. We are seeing the very main line of closed Rui Lopez being played. Pawn to b5, bishop comes back to b3, black castles, and because black has castled, we might see the Marshall Gambit with d5 here, and Gukesh goes for it. d5, pawn takes, knight takes d5, he takes the pawn in the center. The very well-known Marshall Gambit is here. c6 used to be the main line, but Gukesh goes bishop b7, and you can see Ivan thinks for nearly 5 minutes before going queen f3, and now another 9 minutes before playing bishop d5. c6 played, the rook is hanging, the bishop is hanging, and here he comes back, rook e1, pawn takes, and d4. Let's take a stock of the situation. While Gukesh is up to 27 minutes, Sharic is down to 12 minutes on the clock. So Gukesh is fully prepped up, while Ivan is right now thinking and playing bishop e3 played. So the thing is, black is a pawn down here, but has the bishop pair, and black is slightly underdeveloped. a3 played. White is slightly underdeveloped. Pawn takes, and now you're going to take back with the knight. And one might think, like, what kind of compensation does black really have, because this bishop looks bad. But remember, this bishop isn't tied down to this diagonal. It could anytime go to the other diagonal where there are light square weaknesses. b4 played here by Ivan. Queen to c6 played by Gukesh. And now bishop comes back to d2, defending the pawn on c3. Pawn to a5, striking here. If you were to take on a4, a5, queen a4 could be very strong. So that's the reason why he goes back, knight c2. But now Gukesh gets a passer on a4. This is a dangerous pawn, and the knight instantly blockades it. But remember, guys, the knight is permanently now tied down to the a4 pawn, which is not good news for white. Meanwhile, rook e1 played. He's trading off the rooks, which means that black would then have queen and 2 pieces in play, while white would have majorly only a queen and bishop in play. Knight would be quite misplaced. h6 played here. h4 is on the board. And now slowly Gukesh can start turning the wheels. Bishop f8, good move. Defending the pawn, getting ready to shift the bishop in some other diagonal, maybe via a6, not a bad idea. And Gukesh has 10 minutes, Ivan has 7 minutes. The time has narrowed down, but Gukesh has got the advantage now. Bishop a6 played. It's such an amazing position that in spite of being a pawn down, Gukesh is pressing for the win. It has a lot to do with the a passer and this bishop on light squares being unopposed. King g2. And now queen e6 played. He's trying to get the bishop in to e2 perhaps. He goes queen e3, offering a trade of queens. And queen to f5. Again, bd3, be4 is on the cards. Queen e8 played here. The queen comes to e8. Bishop moves back. Fantastic move. And now, if you block the queen out and get in here. Oh, he wants to come bd6. But guys, bishop e6 is just killer. Look at this. Bishop e6, bd6, check, king h2. I can even go king h7 now. You take the bishop and I have bishop h3 with a checkmate. It's an incredible line, but Gukesh misses it. He doesn't go bishop e6 to cut the queen off. He attacks it, forces the white queen to go back, which is actually something that Ivan would love here. He's thinking, and I think he's going to make it. Queen e2 played. A good move by Sharic. g5 played here by Gukesh. And takes pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Attacking the bishop now. The bishop goes to b8. And g4, fixing the light squares. This is risky stuff. Also, the knight here can get attacked at some point. If the queen manages to enter somewhere here, it would be too much. Queen at 7. Check here. Bishop f5, bishop e4 ideas. f3 played. Good move by Ivan, creating some space for the king. And now king g1, another good defensive move. Ivan is playing brilliantly here. After getting into some trouble, he takes the pawn. If Gukesh takes bishop g4, he goes queen e5. And so Gukesh avoids taking this pawn. He goes bishop e4. Now at this point, Gukesh is 2 pawns down. King f2. Queen goes back to h7. King e1. And bd3, attacking the queen. Queen to e5 played. And check. King d2. Attacking the bishop. The bishop goes back to g6. And Ivan is shaking his head because he's worried that the queen, once it enters here, the game is over. He's trying to block the queen, black queen's path to the queen side. He goes queen e2, blocking again. Gukesh is trying to enter here. And I guess Ivan is happy with the draw. Draw seems like a natural result, but Gukesh continues. He continues the grind. He's like, I'll play on. g5 played, keeping that pawn. And now bishop e4 played. And the king is running. The king is running towards the hills. King b2. It's insane how Ivan is now kind of trying to create his own kind of fortress. Now he's 2 pawns up. And there's no entry point for the queen because the knight is controlling these squares. Bishop e7 played. Goes queen to h2. Bishop e5 and queen h8 check is the threat. Goes queen d1. Wants to check here. Knight comes back to c2. Queen d3 played. Coming from this side now. Oof. Too much pressure. But Ivan is somehow managing. He even created a mate in one threat. And now perhaps g6. Powerful blow. Finds it. Beautiful move. Queen comes back and takes it. But now the black king is a bit exposed. He goes knight a3 back. Queen e2, queen g4 later can attack here. And Gukesh down to 48 seconds. Ivan has 20 seconds. Queen goes to c2, offering a trade once again. Queen a6 played. Attacking the queen in this diagonal here. Queen d1 played. And now bg6. Excellent chess by both the players. Queen d2. And he goes queen to f1. But now queen h2. Once again threatening mate. And perhaps bishop h7. But f6 played. Whew. Dangerous. Living dangerous really is here Gukesh. Queen d1. Knight comes back to c2. And queen d3. He plays queen to d2. Queen c4 attacking here to give a check. And knight a1 played. Oh my goodness. He's kind of putting the knight on the side. King f7 played. Queen c1. This looks like somehow black will be able to get in, but not so easy. He needs to activate the bishop, the dark squared bishop. Queen d2, because Ivan has somehow managed to find a nice fortress here. Bishop f8. And king a3 played. Gukesh makes maybe an error, no? Oh, okay, if you take here, check and you lose the knight. So king goes back to b2. The a4 pawn wasn't hanging. Queen a6 played. And now knight comes to c2. Queen c4, knight goes back. Ivan is happy with the draw because his light squares are too weak. King e6. Gukesh maybe even going to the extent of trying to win with the king. And now queen f1, attacking the knight here. The knight can move. Knight c2 perhaps. No, queen c1 played. Nice move. Offering a trade, and have to be careful because king a4 is hanging now. Queen d3. No, he had to go back. He had to go back here perhaps to save the pawn. Now he gives up the a4 pawn. And now if you give a check, I run away. The knight is defended. This is a huge change which Gukesh missed. And now Gukesh is in big trouble. He has 15 seconds. Saric has 45. Check. Yes, the light squares are weak, but you've lost one of the key assets of your position. And check here with just 3 seconds. You believe like if you trade queens, I think that's a losing endgame. Queen f1. Maybe not. Maybe you can still fight there. But knight c2 played. And now Ivan is well and truly on his way to put a lot of pressure on Gukesh. Whether it's winning or not is not clear. But knight goes to a3. I mean, how to make progress for sure is tough because there's so much pressure with the queen and the bishop here. He goes bishop e7. He's waiting. Queen c1. And now I'm pretty sure that Gukesh is happy with the draw. If he goes, it'll be a repetition. But Ivan fighting here. He wants to continue. Knight c2. Bishop goes back. And he finds queen e1. Good move. Somehow white is making some progress here. Maybe slowly and steadily. Queen d3. Now knight to e3. Let's go. A check is not coming there. Queen f1. They are repeating. No. Oh, Ivan wants to repeat 3 times. He's asking. And Gukesh like, should I make a move? Is it a 3-fold repetition? He says, I want to play queen f1. And the arbiter says, draw. Okay, Ivan agrees. But the final position is really in Gukesh's favor. In Saric's favor. Gukesh is almost losing there with 2 pieces. It's not easy. 2 pawns down. It's not easy, but clearly Saric had to try, but I mean, he's exhausted. The game has gone on and on for well over 84 moves here. And so, as he's saying here, he felt like he was in some trouble, and Gukesh manages to draw even from a losing position. Somehow, the world champions effect, the Gukesh effect, is coming into play here. There are 2 moments in this game that are of particular interest to me. One is this one, where Ivan has just played his bishop here to threaten bd6 and Gukesh goes bishop d7. Instead, if Gukesh had gone bishop e6, this would be a huge move for him. The threat is of course queen e4 and somehow getting the bishop and queen to coordinate to launch an attack on the king. For example, if you play bishop d6, I go for a check. And now, for example, if you were to play check here, f3, queen e2 check, king g1, queen e1 check, king g2 is met with bishop h3 and you lose the queen. So you go king h2 and now comes queen check here on f2, king h1, bishop h3. And what had to be seen is that after takes king h7, there are no more checks and it's a forced mate here. Let's go back and see another line. For example, bishop e6, bishop d6, queen e4. Here, if king g1, you again go check. If king h2, you have queen f2. If king g2, you have bishop h3, losing the queen. So then, the only move that is left is king h2. and here you play this brilliant move, king h7. A nice deflecting move. If queen takes, then bishop h3 is a bone crusher with a mate in 1 threatened here, and there's no way. And if you take the bishop here, then check, king g4, h5 check, king takes h5, queen f3 check, and it's a forced mate here after king here f6 and game over. So bishop h3 is crushing. Imagine you play bishop f8, stopping the bishop from moving here. Now the coordination is broken, so queen f3 trying to mate here, so king goes back, and now bishop h3, and it's a forced mate. It's quite beautiful that the doom comes on the light squares. The second position that was very interesting for me was towards the end of the game, where the players were repeating their moves here, and Gukesh played queen d3, Saric played queen d2, and they agreed to a draw here. Well, in this position, after queen f1, queen e1, I think there is a huge chance for Saric to continue, because after queen d3, in comes the move knight e3. Very nice move. Now there are no checks here. Now imagine you play king e6. I have queen f1 forcing the trade of queens, and I'm winning. If you give me a check, then king b3. Let's say I mean either you force the check exchange, or you give a check, king b3, and now my king is so safe with this knight here that my queen can start entering the play, and this position is totally better or close to winning for e1.